they will continue to follow him. William Graham. Superstar Billy Graham, not the wrestler, the preacher. And unfortunately, many will follow him to their own demise. Unfortunately. You're thinking, well, you're in a different spot, aren't you? Yes. And this is now in Atlanta, Georgia. Continuing the video. And so, yeah, they will follow Billy Graham. Now, let me give you some foreshadowing here. This is not prophecy. This is just like a common sense prediction. You're saying, well, prophecy, you know, the proper definition for the word prophet and prophetic, you know, Bible definition is something that is predicted. But now, I'm not saying this is the Holy Spirit, somebody making a prediction through an individual. I'm saying this is me, through common sense, through knowing the enemy's MO. So there's a good 50% chance that it won't happen this way. But Billy Graham, like I was saying, he's about to make his final speech. And in his final speech, he'll probably, if he doesn't do it from a stadium, he's most likely going to do it from his own home. And it'll be the typical setting, most likely. It'll be the fireplace in the background, you know, or the bookshelf with the books, or the encyclopedias and books in the background, or a collision of both, fireplace and bookshelf. It'll be a nice little lounge chair for him. Probably have a little coffee stand on the side with a glass of water or a Bible or something, if the Bible is not in his lap. It'll have that nice, cool, or what do you call it, that warm color to it, you know, with the reddish burgundy type, you know, look to it. Soothing to the eyes and hypnotic to the brain. No different than somebody sitting in front of a fireplace reading a Charles Dickens classic, you know, about to put people under the spell, you know, of this false Christmas piece, you know. It probably won't be too different than that, too far from that. Now, let's just say that's just my prediction, and you know what? Matter of fact, me making this clip right here, I'm gonna repost this clip through from now until the time that Billy Graham makes his last speech. Just for fun, you know, just to have a little bit of fun with that, you know. Could I be wrong in my common sense prediction, or could I be right? Which one? It doesn't really matter, really. You know, but I mean, if it does happen, it'll be something that, you know, just something that we can laugh about, you know, have a little fun with that. It's not going to be fun unless it happens, really. But I mean, that's one of their MOs. They do things like that, you know, and you know when they do that, it's just showing you straight up that it's all a prop, it's all staged. And I promise you, if they do it even a little bit like that, if their little stage set for Billy Graham looks anything like I just described, believe me, I'm gonna repost this video, and I'm gonna repost that video and post this one back to back, and let you know that today's date is November 16th, 2012. So, you know, that's where you know. Sometimes, you know, I feel like I shouldn't laugh because it's a matter of life and death, but at the same time, you know, it's just sometimes it's just easy to see the illusion that some of these antichrist people be trying to be pushing on us, you know. But they'll have some warm setting there, with warm colors, just, again, soothing to the eyes and hypnotic to the brain, with a false sense of peace around them. With his Bible open, possibly. But these things are subliminal. And you see an old man sitting in a lounge chair in front of a fireplace or a bookshelf in a nice, big, rich, expensive-looking living room. Or maybe a humble, small room. Who knows? These things are subliminal. There's a lot of things in those particular shots that you just don't see. Kind of like a turkey sandwich in somebody's pocket that's on a video. You don't see what's back. You can see what's behind me, but you don't see everything other than what's in the shot, right? And what comes into the shot as I'm walking. Well, it's like a turkey sandwich inside of a pocket. You didn't see this in my pocket until just now, right? Well, it was there, even though you didn't know it. And when these guys get on stage in front of the camera, there's things there that you don't see and that you don't know, like the camera crew, for instance. And a lot of other demonic things that are there that we just don't notice. The key thing is to get you to focus on what's in front of the camera, not what's going on behind it. Billy Graham is the Antichrist, one of the Antichrist figureheads. It's a collection of men and women. Billy Graham is right up top with John Hagee, probably even higher than that, and Barack Obama. All these guys are inclusionists. All these guys are trying to bring all the religions and cultures together. They're not trying to, they're doing it. And we are watching them do it. Some of us see it clearly, and we're still ignoring the signs that are right in front of us. We're being ignorant of the signs. We're being ignorant of the words that they speak from their mouth, and we're still following them and still praising them. We're still worshiping Baal. Both black and white. Foreigners too. Because we think that God set them in order. We think that God placed Billy Graham and he just went away, maybe. Some of us think that God placed Billy Graham and he's still in God's will. Billy Graham was never in Yahweh's will. He might have been in God's will, the God known as Baal. Again, it's time to come away from the generic terms like God. Specify who you're talking about. We're talking about Yahweh. We're not talking about the Mormons, Yahweh. We're not talking about the Jehovah's Witnesses, Jehovah or Yahweh. Well, they got Jehovah, so we're not talking about the Yahweh of prosperity. We're not talking about the Orthodox Jews with the Yahweh that allows them to reject the Son of God and light candles on Hanukkah, which they call the Festival of Lights. They're lighting candles, they're lighting, the Festival of Lights, and Yahweh is not accepting that crap. He stopped accepting that crap years ago, and most likely he never accepted it. You don't accept my son, I'm not accepting that. The Festival of Lights for you, maybe you don't realize it, but for you, it's devil worship. Because what you're doing is lighting candles to Lucifer. At this point, Satan is calling himself Lucifer. He may have not have been Lucifer in biblical days. People just took the book of Isaiah and the book of Ezekiel out of context. Ezekiel 28 and Isaiah chapter 24 are out of context. It has nothing to do with Satan whatsoever. In fact, one of the words that Lucifer in the original manuscript is not even Halil. It is Halal, I think it is. I forgot how to pronounce it. Elal. Howl, howl, son of the morning. But even without that, even if it was Halal, Lucifer, he's still not referring to Satan. referring to a king, but that's another story for another day. But again, Satan nowadays is worshipped as Lucifer, light. And there's a lot of customs going on out there. A lot of different. I looked this up on Wikipedia. There's not just one culture of people that do the festival of lights. Many cultures do the festival, what they call the festival of lights. It's called that in English. But they have various different names for it. One name is Hanukkah. Well, they don't believe in Yahweh. They don't believe in the Son of Yahweh, so it couldn't possibly be, these things couldn't possibly be being lit up for Yahweh. They would have to be lighting it for a false Yahweh. Well, this false Yahweh that or the Orthodox Jews, or whatever you call them, is lighting in ignorance for, is another fallen deity calling itself Yahweh and being worshipped by Orthodox Jews and their festival of lights. They said, well, it comes from a word that means praise. Halal, that means praise. But yet, right before that word, there's another word, halal. and that bears the definition of what they're doing, because they're not. Because they've rejected the Son of God, so they're not, obviously not lighting lights for the real Yahweh. But they're halaling in the sense of halal. They're halaling in the sense of halal. In other words, Lucifer. It's the worship of Venus, the goddess of love. It's the worship of, before it was the goddess of love, Lucifer, Venus. It's the worship of the heavenly host, the stars in the sky, whatever you want to call it. It's worship. It's devil worship. That's what it is. Well, you reject the Son of God, so, you got to do something. You got to conjure up something to do something to show outwardly that we are worshiping God. So let's light some lights. Evangelicals and Pentecostals, they do things, too, to prove that we are in God. We got to prove it to ourselves that God is real. So let's have a jam session. Let's knock over some chairs and, jump around. Jump around and swing a cat by its tail in the middle of service or whatever, Just so I can feel something in my body, so I can know that God is real. Just so we can prove outwardly to people that God is real. Yet the same Yahweh that they believe that they're worshiping says, no flesh shall glory in his presence. None whatsoever. See, all religions have something that they have to do outwardly in order to prove to everybody on the outside and to prove to themselves that they really do believe in Yahweh. Yeah, it's called the opposite of faith. You might be saying faith with your mouth, but in your heart of hearts, that's not real faith. It's not. So back to this, and I'm going to end this. The illusions that they're spinning in front of the cameras. Don't buy into it. Billy Graham is going to make his last speech sooner or later, his last Antichrist speech. And again, he's already an inclusionist. He might even try to do something like cover that up, like not mention it, or try to say something to reverse it to make people think, no, I don't believe that. But at this point, who knows? We'll see. Again, healing is the children's bread. So if you're not feeding the children's bread, stop calling yourself a faith and healing minister. Shut down your healing ministry. Of course, this video, again, topic is healing factor. Shut it down and never reopen it again. Godspeed. God bless you guys. I love you guys, and Yahweh loves you more.